just prior to the beginning of our pandemic. A friend of mine and I were going to do a workshop on calming the chaos. And that was before we saw what chaos really was. It was before the pandemic. It was before the social unrest. It was just an issue that we needed to find some peace and some quiet in our lives. But I want to present this to you now to put into perspective and give you a few tools to how you can calm your chaos. As we find ourselves being forced to practice a new interaction called social distancing due to the chaos around us from an itty-bitty little organism that's wreaking havoc in our world, we ask why. As we face the realities of systemic racism in our society, as seen by recent events, we ask, how can this be? Will we be able to come through it? What's our outcome? Can we afford physically, emotionally, spiritually to live in constant chaos? No. And it's not what our Maker had in mind for us. So how do we calm the chaos in our lives? Mythologically, let's think of it this way. Mythologically, chaos was the name of the first primordial god to appear at creation, coming out of the void. As most cultures and faith traditions have a creation story, it's not surprising that our biblical ancestors saw God's hand in creation in that way. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was moving over the face of the waters. Without form and void, nothing to cling to, no shape or substance. And when we experience our own chaos, that's how we feel, alone in a void. Well, out of the chaos and void of Genesis, God created substance. Through his actions, he created light and dark, water and sky, sun and moon, plants and animals, all living things. He set in motion a world that is so intricate, so intertwined, that to my mind, there is no doubt that it didn't just happen, but was designed. Now, if that is not your belief or your faith tradition, the same holds true. Out of chaos, substance was formed. So if chaos is a force of nature, what can we do? Not necessarily to control the events, because there are way too many, but to mitigate the effects of the events on our lives. We could just decide that it's too overwhelming and curl up in bed under the blankets with our favorite comfort food and let the world pass us by. Not very healthy or productive. That behavior deprives you and others of the gifts that you bring to the world. So if we must face what the world throws our way, here are a few ideas. Let's break down chaos. For see, the words are cooperation and collaboration. Don't try to take on the world by yourself. A burden shared is lightened. Jesus in Matthew 11:28-30 taught us that he was willing to lead us by coming alongside of us and easing our load. It isn't necessary to always have your own way. Listen to others and look for ways to work with each other. You just might find that you have more in common than you thought, and that you might have the same vision, but we're looking at different paths to arrive at the same destination. H is for health and help. It is very hard not to feel overwhelmed if you are sick or achy. Everything that is going wrong just seems to be magnified, and that bed, blanket, and comfort food seems more appealing. So one way to reduce your sense of chaos is to focus on improving and maintaining your health. Make yourself a priority. Just as the flight attendant tells you, should the oxygen masks be required, place yours on first and then help others. Which brings us to the second word, help. Extending yourself to others has a positive effect on both parties. You make someone's burden a little lighter, their day a little brighter, and you give yourself a lift knowing you have helped. You don't need to do something big and costly. Something as simple as eye contact and a smile of understanding lets them know you're not alone. A is for an affirming attitude. That goes back to something that your mother probably taught you. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. If what is spoken and written in social media, movies, TV, and schools are any example, it's a lesson that hasn't been learned really well. We have become very sarcastic and self-centered in society. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Not so. Research has shown that words and attitudes have a larger lasting impact than any physical injury. It's difficult to erase those unkind and false messages. So try to tape over your own messages with conscious, positive thoughts. I believe that God made you and you are his beloved child. He made you in his image, and he isn't dumb or ugly or fat or worthless. If you strive to lift others up and not bring them down, you will be placing those affirmations into your own personal tape. O is for openness and optimism. If your mind is made up and you aren't willing to entertain other possible outcomes or experiences, you may find yourself with regrets and what ifs. I recently portrayed the Cat in the Hat to several preschools and read Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham. The two characters are Sam I Am and an unnamed grumpy guy. Sam I Am wants the grumpy guy to have some green eggs and ham. Grumpy guy repeatedly says, no, I don't like them, I won't eat them, etc. Now, not one to give up, the Sam I Am poses many different scenarios, but Grumpy Guy is adamant. He doesn't like green eggs and ham. Well, Sam I Am is always optimistic and persistent. So Grumpy Guy finally says, if you will just leave me alone, I will try them. Lo and behold, Grumpy Guy finds out that he really, really, really likes green eggs and ham. The moral of the story is, don't shut yourself off to new ideas and opportunities. Think optimistically and positively. Finally, we have S for spiritual practices and silence. Our world has become so fast-paced that it's hard to find time to decompress and renew our hearts and souls. Everything is breaking news, Twitter feeds, Facebook posts, demanding emails and texts. You don't have your phone with you, you feel like you've lost an appendage. Chaos can be calmed by creating a habit of your choice, which makes you slow down. I would recommend something that makes you aware of your own body, that slows your breathing and settles your thoughts. Let's try that right now. Just close your eyes and focus on yourself. You're breathing gently in and out. Slow it down and try using the 4-7-8 technique. Deeply breathe in for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for the count of 7. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale to the count of 8. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A little hard at first, but it gets easier. Feel how your body loses the tension in your shoulders and a weight is lifted. Let your mind drift to a place that makes you feel serene. See it and be there. Keep breathing slowly and evenly. Now open your eyes and notice how you feel. You can't eliminate the chaos, but you can take control of your reactions to what surrounds you. Just continue to breathe and know that you are loved.